Hey, I'm Matt McKenzie, and today I was going to go over creating a Azure Virtual Desktop session host image. So, what we'll start off with, since you really can't create a VM without having a virtual network. So, go in, create a new one, MattRG. Go. Change the name. There we go. So basically, the VNet's going to be a /16, so it's got 65,000 addresses. We're going to carve out 256 of those with this first subnet, um, and you can always just increment it by 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, as you carve out more subnets. So we'll do save, view and create, do create. And more than likely, you've already got a VNet if you've been in Azure. And so now we're going to go ahead and create a VM and AVD image US East US. So you have a couple options on VMs from the marketplace. You've got the Windows 10, Windows 11. Um, Typically, I'm going for multi-session VMs, going with enterprise multi-session. You'll find a couple different versions. Here you'll also find Gen 1, Gen 2, just like your Hyper-V generations. One supports secure boot, so if you've got some requirements, you need a Gen 2, make sure you choose a Gen 2. This would be a good one, for instance. It's Windows 10 Enterprise multi-session, version 22H2 Gen 1, and then they've also got one for Gen 2. There it is. So those two would be a good image if you're doing Windows 10. And then there's also Windows 11, which has quite a few fewer versions because it really works on Gen 2. So for our demo, we're just going to choose the Windows 11 Enterprise Multi-Session 22H2. I'd say even if you're only doing like personalized desktops, still do the multi-session image because if you end up doing a pooled host pool, that way you can actually use the same image if needed. So, um, so we got our resource group, our image name. It's standard. We're not doing any redundancy. We got a D8 S. Actually, I'm gonna change that real quick. Uh, do, 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 do. Where we got D series. Actually, I won't. I'll just leave it as that. It's fine. Okay. Get in our creds. If you have a site-to-site VPN already set up with your VNet, you don't have to do public IP address, but as a brand new subscription, don't have anything on it, we'll go ahead and do RDP into it since it's very temporary. Let's see. Don't have, no, I'm going to change any of that. We are going to choose and leave it with a new public IP address. We'll leave the security groups the same. Delete the NIC when it's done so we don't have to clean up. Don't really have to worry about the rest of these because it's only an image. So you're going to capture it, delete it, So we've got everything in there we need. Let's go ahead and create. All right, this might take a minute, so we'll pause it. All right, now we're back. All done. Let's check it out. Okay, so we got our public IP address. Go, we'll get that copied. All right. Yep. Go. And while we're waiting on that, wanted to kind of talk about what we're doing and why. So in here, which I mean, the marketplace gallery image probably has some of this, but in here, technically, you can create your own VM from a blank VM. What we need to do is make sure that certain things are set properly. We're gonna make sure to disable automatic updates. Make sure we got time zone redirection. We're gonna make sure to disable storage sense. We're also gonna go in and tweak some of these settings as well, make sure all that's done. But then there's some things you need to do as far as installing Office, the Office suite. Um, on here, we need to make sure we got Office installed with shared computer activation mode. Um, and what that does is allow your 365 users to all sign in. It's already associated then with your tenant once the first person signs in, so everybody's not getting prompted to activate Office. Same with OneDrive and Teams. You have to install it if you're doing a shared image for a multi-session. You need to have it set up where OneDrive's configured properly. Also to have the silent configuration, so it signs into your tenant, which is going to be listed here. Um, and then on top of that, you also have to do something for Teams. Teams has to be customized for Azure Virtual Desktop. There's some registry keys that you need to do. You also need to install Teams a specific way so that it does get installed. So what I've done, I've created a nice AVD image setup script that goes in, creates a folder, downloads Office 64-bit, Office 32-bit in case you need to use 32-bit. It's got let's see, FSLogix, which is for your profile management, your OneDrive, and then your Teams. And so in here, then once all those are downloaded, it extracts the Office Deployment Toolkit, which I've added in my copy a batch file that kicks off with the configuration already set with shared activation. So it goes, extracts the folder, runs the bat file, installs Office. You need 32-bit, just comment the 64-bit, use the 32-bit. We've got the script for enabling remote desktop, just in case. We've got FSLogix. Go ahead and install FSLogix. We got the time zone redirection. We got the disable storage sense. You got the enable multi-session Windows 10 telemetry. You've got all the O365 tweaks that need to be done. You've got OneDrive installation. If you need to just use the OneDrive piece, you can uncomment it if you have to uninstall and reinstall OneDrive. Say if you installed it by accident without this script to do a all users computer install. Same with Teams. We'll go in, we'll grab, well, actually, easier way to grab this, click on the raw, and then you've got all of it. And then we can go back to our remote desktop session. Some of this will probably be installed on the image already, but some of this not. But I always like to make sure I've got everything done correctly. So see right now, the only thing we've got on here, Edge and FSLogix. And not even sure if that's the latest version of FSLogix. So we'll go ahead and do terminal as an admin, which is, has PowerShell in it. We'll go ahead and paste in our script. We'll let it run. It'll probably take a little while to go in, download all of Office and FSLogix and whatnot. And then it's gonna be finished. And then when we get back, uh, we'll sysprep the image and capture it. Maybe install a program or two, so that we can actually do an image with an application on it, and go from there. So let's wait a few and pick up where we left off. All right, and this is still going on, but one disclaimer I did want to point out before we got too far in. You do need to get your Azure ID tenant to put into the script before you run it. That is one disclaimer that I failed to mention. Um, and then that way it actually resolves to your tenant ID instead of nothing. So just wanted to get some clarity on that as we keep on rolling. All right, and we're back, and you can see we've got our Office 365 apps. We've got our FSLogix, but with the updated version, and we've got OneDrive now installed. And so we need to go in, add some additional applications. Throw Chrome on here real quick. Notepad++. There you go. We got our Notepad and our Chrome. And, we'll just say we're done with our image now. So we need to sysprep the machine. And one of the processes involves deleting the Panther folder. Go ahead and do that. And then we'll go in and do sysprep. And so what we want to do, we want to go to out-of-box experience. We're going to generalize it, and we'll shut this VM down. So we'll go ahead and do that. And this will just clean out, any of the profile information and get everything ready for out-of-box experience the next time the image is brought up. It might take a sec, so we'll go ahead and pause for a sec. Okay, and I'm back, and that VM's finally stopped for doing the sysprep, so we just need to completely stop it. So that it's deprovisioned. And that might take a minute or so, and then we're going to go to capture. And the reason we're going to kind of do it this way is so that you can capture the image of the VM into the gallery, the image gallery. What that'll do then, make it easier um, to replicate the image across multiple regions in case of a failure, in case you need to redeploy the image. There we go. So we'll go ahead and do capture. And you can see it's already put it in the AVD resource group. You don't have to technically store it there. If you have a region you want to, or a resource group you want to put it in, but we do want to save it to the gallery as a VM image version. We're going to create a new compute gallery. We'll call it W11. We'll just call it a base image. Sure. There we go. It's a generalized image, so it's going to need information when we go to create it, which is fine. And then we need an image definition. And we'll call this one W1122H2. Sure. And version number we'll go with today's date. There we go. That'll make it easy because that way, new images, if you go with this version scheming, we'll always have the latest. Today, the current date will always be the latest. And then down here is where you can replicate it in different regions if you choose to. So you could say, hey, I want to replicate over to West or Central. And it'll just replicate that into 2 regions. You got your one in your current region, you got one in East. For this demo, we're not going to do it, but for production, definitely recommend it. So we'll go ahead and do review and create. And we're going to skip on tags because we need a tag. Quick demo. So we'll give this a few and catch back up here in a minute. All right, so our deployment finished up. So we're ready to go. Now if we go over to our resource group, and we save this in AVD, you can see we got a our VM version right there, and our Azure Compute Gallery right here. So we're going to go in, we're going to create a new VM. To use this image. Well, since that doesn't want to load, either way, we'll show you this part. So what you'll do then to get your image, you'll go to My Images, and we'll refresh. There it is. So you get shared images. Sorry, shared images, and then it's got your image type right there. And for whatever reason, my page isn't loading. Give me just a sec here. See if we can refresh. All right, now we're back. Okay. Now we'll go back and do this again. Okay, so now we're going to choose our image. We're going to select all images. We're going to go shared images. Now we've got our image that way. And so you can see now it's got your gallery name, what I guess instance type you want to call it, and then it's the latest generation. So whichever of your Azure Compute Gallery has in it. So if you go to the Azure Compute Gallery, you can actually store multiple versions of the same image. So if we went back, recreated the image as a new image, but wanted to mark it as a new version, you could go in here and actually, capture it again, and it'll add it in here as a different version. Once this loads here, give it a sec. It's acting a little slow today on the portal. All right, and there we go. So now you see it's got the latest version is the one we captured. If we had previous versions, they would show up here. And if you wanted to create a VM off of a different version or the newest version, you can go to create VM or create VM over here on the side next to whichever version you have. That's really it though, on how to create an image and for Azure Virtual Desktop. Thanks for joining.